Good morning, everyone. Hi, I'm delighted to welcome you all to the third edition of Enterprise Ireland UK Cybersecurity Innovation Series. For those of you not familiar with Enterprise Ireland, we're the trade and innovation agency of the Irish government and largest seed investor globally by deal flow. Our goal is to build successful long-term business relationships between international partners and Irish innovators. We have a network of over 40 international offices that support thousands of Irish businesses in their efforts to internationalise. And despite global disruption and uncertain trading relationships, the UK remains Ireland's largest trading partner, and our London and Manchester offices are proud to continue the strong trading relationship between Ireland and the UK. So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Sarah McNabb. I'm based in our London office, and I'm the UK and Global Overseas Lead for Enterprise Ireland's Cybersecurity Cluster. I work with over 50 cybersecurity innovators, ranging from early stage startup all the way to large companies employing thousands of people across Ireland, the UK, and globally. We have 7 of these companies taking part in today's session: Akeero, Cyber Risk Aware, CWSI, Fijowave, Tynes, Vaultree, and Waterford Technologies. These are a really exciting group of companies that are looking at areas such as low code, no code, BYOD and connected devices, cybersecurity awareness and training, data management, and encryption as a service. There's been a real interest in these companies recently, with many receiving significant investment from both Enterprise Ireland and global investors over the past few months. And they're providing technology and solutions to blue chip brands, including Coinbase, Vodafone, Network Rail, NHS, Standard Chartered Bank, McKesson, BT, and Heineken. So before we kick off the Innovation Showcase, I'm delighted to be joined by Dr. Ali Baghdadi, who will be opening the session with a fireside chat. Great to have you, Ali.
Great to have you too. Thank you very much for having me, Sarah.
So Dr. Ali is Senior Vice President of Ingram Micro and Global Executive Sponsor for Cybersecurity. Ingram Micro is a Fortune 100 tech giant and largest B2B tech distributor in the world. Ali himself is a leading global voice and business leader in the cybersecurity industry and is also a serial entrepreneur, having sold his company AppTech to Ingram Micro in 2012. And this year he was awarded the prestigious title of Entrepreneur of the Year by Imperial College London. So, Ali, delighted to have you. We might just kick off by telling the audience just a bit more about yourself.
Hi, Sarah. So firstly, again, thank you very much for having me today. I took my master's degree and a PhD in computer science from Imperial College in London. I simultaneously started my first company, AppTech, in London, which built and provided technology and software and security solutions. The company expanded into Europe, Middle East, Africa, and eventually I sold AppTech to Ingram Micro back in 2012 and joined them as a senior vice president to further develop the value-added distribution and cybersecurity across Ingram Micro's entities worldwide. Yeah, that's what I did.
Great. And so could you firstly tell us a bit more about AppTech and also how the idea came about and also Ingram Micro and your role within the company?
Of course. So you see, when I was doing my PhD, part of the funding for the research I was doing was by building technology and microcomputers that controlled X-ray microanalyzers and other devices. And in order to generate the funding for research, I had to actually go and sell these technologies and ideas to companies like Cambridge Electronics and Kamika in France. So I found that I can actually create an idea and sell it. So I was at the same time determined to develop technology that helps people, hence the term appropriate technology, AppTech for short. The college actually encouraged me to start a company, and I did while I was doing my PhD. And started by designing technology, again, added value technology to existing leading technologies. So I worked with Apple, I worked with Japanese companies, and eventually things took off really fast. And since then, I've been always looking forward, like, what is the technology that's likely to come in next? And also, what do customers need? What do people need? How can I make their lives easier? And this has been my journey for the last 40 years, always developing and delivering technology that helps people. And here we are. So AppTech, which was a baby company that started for £100, today delivers more than $1.5 billion of revenue.
Wow, exciting stuff. So actually, I meant to mention at the beginning as well, for the audience, if you have any questions for Ali, please pop them in the Q&A box and we'll hopefully answer some at the end. So moving on then to Ingram Micro, and obviously you sold AppTech to Ingram Micro. What's your role with Ingram Micro today, and can you tell us a bit more about the company itself?
Of course. So Ingram Micro is one of the largest global IT distributors, selling solutions through partners to end users. We reached the revenues of almost $50 billion, and we exist in nearly every country in the world today. We deliver a full spectrum of technology solutions and supply chain services to businesses around the world. We help businesses realize the promise of technology. That's our motto. We've made significant investments in building our cybersecurity globally, which made us a leading solution provider in this critical segment. Personally, I'm an executive sponsor for our cybersecurity strategy globally, and I've supported Europe, Middle East, Africa in building the security business. So I established centers of excellence in 3 locations across Europe that supports our entire EMEA, Europe, Middle East, Africa geography, and they are based in Holland, Belgrade, and Dubai. But then every country in Ingram Micro has established a team and an organization that sells, supports, and delivers cybersecurity solutions on behalf of our vendors and suppliers. Some we've built, like we did in the UK, for example, and some we actually had to go and acquire, like the company we acquired in France, and also service companies we acquired in UK and Ireland, and service companies in Holland. So determined to invest in this segment in a massive way.
Great, thank you. So now moving on to the UK landscape. So obviously the past 18 months have obviously been at times incredibly tumultuous, but also really exciting and dynamic. How do you think the past 18 months have been for the industry? How have things like the global shift to working from home and Brexit impacted the sector?
Absolutely. Things have changed dramatically over the last year and a half or 2 years since the pandemic hit the world. I mean, over the last year or so, the attackable surface of most companies and individuals expanded considerably to include living rooms, home networks, and personal phones, and the use of virtual meeting and information sharing platforms, Zoom, Teams, WebEx, BlueJeans, and even WhatsApp, and the increasing reliance on cloud-based software resulted in the network of traffic to change beyond recognition. I mean, a research conducted last month shows that 65% of CISOs surveyed in the UK fear that their organization will be experiencing a material breach just in the coming year. Imagine that, 65%. But why? Chief Information Security Officers, the CISOs, they cannot see the full picture. Erratic employee behavior, personal devices, home network reduces visibility and creates blind spots and dark corners where attacks can go undetected. Another challenge, of course, we have in the UK is the shortage of skills. There's a global shortage of cybersecurity skills, and Brexit would have only made things worse. And in the UK and Ireland, almost 30% of cybersecurity available jobs currently remain unfilled. And this is a global phenomenon, actually. Yeah.
30%, yeah. I think this whole skill shortage piece is across every industry, but particularly in this space. And I actually think a couple of the companies pitching later are going to be addressing a couple of the topics you mentioned. So yeah, really topical. Sorry, continue.
That's really important. I mean, the Brexit factor, of course, initially there's been fears that post-Brexit, the UK may lose the cooperation of the European agencies and data security authorities. However, in May of this year, a significant step was achieved when the newly negotiated EU and UK TCA, the Trade and Cooperation Agreement, and its complementary SIA, the Security of Information Agreement, came into force. So things are being recognized and some helpful steps are being taken. The National Cybersecurity Center, which is a non-aligned public service organization, I personally find that their advice is extremely helpful and easy to understand language-wise. It addresses all kinds of categories. So actually, if you visit their website, you'll see that it answers many questions of an individual all the way to an enterprise segment or so. Yeah.
Yeah, and actually the NCSC, we also have one in Ireland as well. And would you be very familiar with the Irish cybersecurity landscape?
To a certain extent, I believe Ireland has made some important strides in supporting cybersecurity firms and service providers too. For example, 6 out of the top 10 global cybersecurity companies have presence in Ireland. 5 universities offer affordable master degree courses in cybersecurity. I'm connected, as you know, to Imperial College, so I'm always looking out for who else is providing this. There are several government and semi-government organizations that address cybersecurity for Ireland, including the NCSC, which we just spoke about, IDA Ireland, and Cyber Ireland. Also, I read about a recent Irish government announcement of a package of measures to strengthen the NCSC's cybersecurity incident response team. It's known as the CSIRT, I think, something like that.
Great. Yeah. Well, I mean, we work closely with Cyber Ireland and the IDA, so it's great to hear they've got a bit of international recognition as well. I actually think we've got a couple of people from Cyber Ireland on the call today. So,
oh, brilliant.
So yeah. So moving on to 2022 now, what do you see as the kind of key trends and challenges in the industry?
Yeah, this is what we look at all the time. So hackers now are taking advantage of artificial intelligence and even as a service software. Offensive AI will learn and adapt. It will direct attacks and working out where the most valuable data lies. For example, AI manipulated voice messages or even live calls. Someone's voice and accent can be the same as someone you know. We call this phishing. A recent incident resulted in a bank losing $35 million just using phishing, actually, which is terrible. I put that on LinkedIn some time back. Worse still, using deepfake, AI and machine learning, I can be and look like someone else completely. We saw a significant rise in ransomware being used by cyber criminals to block access to your own data and demand ransoms. Criminal gangs encrypt the files in your system so no one can read or access them, and they hold it captive until a ransom is paid. With the advent of the Internet of Things, where everything is connected, bad actors can also target new and target big infrastructures. Recent events like the Colonial Pipeline ransomware attack in May of this year have highlighted the need for a proper protection of infrastructure. The shutdown actually that was caused by Colonial affected consumers and airlines along the east coast of the United States. The hack was deemed a national security threat in the United States by President Biden. I also saw we were researching an attack called by RAS. RAS is a ransomware as a service by a gang called REvil. And I was delighted yesterday to find that REvil gang was busted, actually, and $6 million were recovered. I mean, it's a very interesting scenario here.
Yeah, I saw that actually. So I'm conscious we're speeding through this. So before we move on to the audience Q&A, do you have any tips for Irish SMEs that are looking to partner with an organization like Ingram Micro?
So, of course, if we look at customers or suppliers, there are two different things. So a customer, a partner in Ireland will have the opportunity to leverage a comprehensive and extensive portfolio of products and solutions across the entire IT spectrum, including strong cybersecurity focus. So our cybersecurity centers of excellence deliver training, security assessments like penetration testing, consultancy, pre and post sales services, etc. So Ingram offers a range of very attractive logistical services, financial services, marketing services to our partners. So all this is available to partners. Our Cloud Blue platform offers opportunities to partners and to independent software vendors, ISVs. So as a partner, once registered, they will have access to the portfolio of SaaS, IaaS, PaaS subscription-based applications on our marketplace. And a reseller can white label our platform using our syndication program. It's called MAS, Marketplace as a Service. As a software vendor, as an ISV, a software vendor can enter discussions to become also a cloud-based vendor. This can be fully integrated through APIs, which will enable automated transactions and provisioning, or by using what we call our swivel chair. It's a similar process which would enable faster onboarding, but less automation. Anyway, we can share information and contacts for anybody interested to reach out, and we will do our best to help. So we have a strong presence on the ground in Ireland, and that will help you.
Yeah, thank you, Ali. Really appreciate that. And yeah, I'm happy to share details of Paul Kelly's. He's the Ingram Micro manager for Ireland, and we can share details of this after the session.
Thank you.
So we might just quickly take a couple of audience questions. Clodagh, I think we probably only have time for one or two. If you'd be able to share them, thanks.
No worries. Yeah, we have a few interesting questions coming in, Ali. But the first one here is, with an ever-increasing pace of development, the mass migration to public clouds, a large security skills gap and resource shortage in product development teams, what methods or tools do you think organizations should employ to ensure that they are as secure as possible?
Thank you, Clodagh. That's a long question.
Long question, yeah.
I mentioned earlier that almost 30% cybersecurity jobs remain unfilled, and this applies globally. So we are looking at figures in the millions. Colleges, universities, schools have a role to play here. Also, I see the development of tools that automate some of the manual processes that cybersecurity professionals do will enable more to be done by the same expert in less time. I see some exciting examples using AI to accelerate manual processes and assessments. So I can talk about education, services, and technologies that will help protect companies. It is best to contact us, and we'll provide meaningful advice to any company that needs it.
Great, thank you, Ali. So we might just quickly do one more question, Clodagh, because then we're on a pretty tight schedule. I think we should have time for just one more.
Yeah, absolutely. So the next one is, how do you envisage the future of data protection and the role of encryption in this space?
Okay, so of course, encryption already plays a major role in on-premise data and data transport. I refer here to HTTPS, for example. All companies need to secure their sensitive personal and secret data, be it on-prem or in the cloud. So many cybersecurity data backup and data classification vendors provide encryption as part of their solution. So a standalone encryption solution needs to have some unique features or advantages. For example, the AES 256 is an encryption technology that is less likely to be broken and is approved by the US government for protection. So looking forward to hear more about that from some of your vendors, I believe, are present here today.
Yeah, absolutely. Very timely question. Okay, great. I mean, I've seen a couple of other questions come in, but unfortunately that is all we have time for. But Ali, thank you so much. It was a really insightful conversation. And I think, yeah, it nicely brings us on to the innovation showcase now, which I think a couple of these companies will touch on the themes you mentioned. So Kieran, if you want to start sharing your screen. So first up, we have Akiro. I've mentioned to all of the panelists, it's a 7-minute pitch, 7 panelists pitching for 7 minutes. After 7 minutes, I will cut you off. Please post your questions in the Q&A box. And yeah, let's kick off. So firstly, we have Akiro, who was founded by Kieran O'Keefe, Andy Gilligan, and Stuart Cameron in 2020. They're one of the most exciting startups to come out of Ireland recently and have received funding from some of Europe's leading VCs. Akiro have built a powerful platform that lets companies deliver products faster and more securely. So I will let Kieran tell you more. Take it away.
Thanks, Sarah. Can you see my screen?
Yep.
Perfect. So thanks to Enterprise Ireland for having us at this innovation showcase. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about Akiro. So Akiro was founded in 2020 by, as Sarah mentioned, myself, Anthony and Stuart, and it's founded off the back of our collective experience as security professionals across many organizations in multiple industries. We really understood the challenges of embedding secure design principles into the software development lifecycle and saw firsthand the impact this had on products and services, the teams that are building those products and services, and the wider organization as a whole. My own experiences, I was the global lead for security architecture and operations for Logitech for a number of years. And I was also the principal security architect for ForcePoint's cloud product portfolio. So what are some of the challenges that I was mentioning in terms of the organizations are facing today? The ultimate problem is that teams are delivering insecure products and services. And there are three main reasons for this. Security design just takes too long and is compounded by the complexities that modern cloud architectures provide or bring. In terms of security teams and resources, security teams are small in comparison to development teams in lots of organizations. And sometimes the ratio of 1:100 is not an uncommon thing. And as a result, your security and dev teams are stretched to capacity and are really focused and measured on speed of delivery, which often negatively affects security and the quality of security controls. And this ultimately leads to your security teams often being bypassed for non-critical applications and services. And what we see when we're speaking to customers is that this is a very common occurrence. What we traditionally see in organizations in terms of security testing is that they rely on detective controls and security testing at the end of a software development lifecycle to identify security weaknesses or things that have gone wrong in the development process. And that's just far too late. When this happens, organizations tend to focus on critical security bugs and only fix those, given the time and effort required to retrospectively add those security controls back into the development lifecycle. A real world example of this is that I work for an organization that wanted to deliver a new product to the market, and securing the infrastructure that underpinned that product was secondary to actually delivering the product to the market and getting the features to the customers. In that instance, I was one security architect of 400 engineers, which was a nightmare. And as a result, the app underwent a pen test before it went live, and a number of several security issues were identified, of which some were very critical and actually delayed the go live of that product. And what the organization did was that they put 3 of the best engineers in a room for 3 weeks for 12 hours a day and fixed the critical bugs, and everything else was left to be completed later. It's very interesting, actually. OWASP released their latest top 10 for 2021, and insecure design is now featured on that list for the very first time at number 4. Which only goes to show the importance that industry is placing on secure design activities. In terms of Akiro, so what are we? So Akiro is an automated threat modeling and security design platform. And our goal is to take threat modeling and security design activities, automate them from their manual process, and take that process from hours and weeks in terms of complexity down to minutes by automating those repetitive tasks as easily and as early as possible within the software development lifecycle. To enable and empower security and development teams to instantly identify the security requirements for the apps and services that they're building is a real kind of core tenet of what Akiro is trying to do. And it really goes to the point that Dr. Ali was mentioning in terms of that skill shortage around security organization, or that teams are facing with security professionals in their organizations. So if we overlay the common steps of the software development lifecycle and what does that look like when you're using Akiro, instead of just getting the business requirements at the design time in terms of the features that need to be built, you're able to identify almost instantly the business and security requirements that need to be in place for your product or service. And they feed right into your development process for code and building, which means that your developers and your engineers have the ability to access the information and the steps they need to implement security controls on demand. And as a result, as you go through the testing aspect of your software development lifecycle, fewer and fewer security flaws should be found. As you move into the release, deploy, and monitor stage, all changes in your environment from a cloud perspective are monitored in real time, and that information is fed back into your threat modeling tool or your threat model for that product or service. So you have a real-time holistic view of your security or threat posture at any point in time. And the outcome of this is that instead of your security team and products teams being release focused, security are really involved from the very start, which increases your team's productivity. You have improved quality of product and speed to market. So what are the benefits of using a tool like Akiro? So Dr. Ali mentioned that the shift to the cloud and the need or the trend for proper protection of cloud infrastructure is really important. And what Akiro gives you is that ability to have a more secure cloud infrastructure, given the level of complexity that organizations have in their cloud environments. As I just mentioned, you get increased feature and delivery, or increased delivery speed of features, and you have the ability to consistently and repeatedly identify threats, which is a real problem and goes back to that skill shortage that Dr. Ali mentioned in terms of, you know, 2 people can look at the same architecture and come up with 2 different threats. And that's a problem for organizations when you need that consistency as a baseline for your organization. Security teams then are free to focus on, you know, the vital tasks or the more complex tasks that your organizations have. So you're getting more value out of those security teams. And when Dr. Ali mentioned, and rightly did so, that there's a security skill shortage, the ability to retain and keep those security members of your team active and engaged is really, really important for your organization. Dr. Ali also mentioned a real problem or a challenge for organizations is visibility in cloud resources. And with Akiro, you get increased visibility almost instantly from using the tool of your cloud resources. So these are the benefits, but what does that translate to in terms of value to your organization? So in terms of automating this process, you increase the team's productivity by 160x. In terms of return on investment, for based on the current pricing model for Akiro, the product pays for itself more or less in an hour and a half after onboarding, giving you a 30 or greater than 30x return on investments straight away. And in terms of time to value, Akiro can be up and running and identifying threats in your environment within 30 minutes. And a quote from one of our customers in terms of the use of Akiro just goes to show how quickly Akiro can get to understanding your environment and your threats very, very quickly. So in terms of next steps for using Akiro, a bit of a typo in my Q&A. So how to get started is email the team at hello@Akiro. We are, as part of the Enterprise Ireland Showcase, offering discounted pricing to any customers who've attended. Or if you want to have a more in-depth chat about Akiro and our processes and how we do things, I'm happy to take a call and have a more in-depth discussion. And as I mentioned, your team can be onboarded and assessing your threat level in 30 minutes. Happy to take questions.
Thank you, Kieran. That was 7 minutes on the dot. Well done.
Nice.
So, Claudia, we'll just quickly take some audience questions if any have come through.
Yep, absolutely. So, Kieran, we have one question here. Is Akiro built for the use of security professionals in an organization, or can wider product teams use it?
So, Akiro is actually built for the wider product team, right? So, the challenge that organizations face, and Dr. Ali mentioned is, and we've seen it firsthand ourselves, I mentioned the ratio of security professionals to engineering teams, is that the one security architect or the small security team can't keep pace with the development teams in modern organizations and modern engineering. So the product was built from the ground up to support the wider product team. And it's very easy to use. So you don't need any security knowledge. It's very intuitive to use. It's drag and drop of the components that build up your architecture and some small security context to get you up and running very, very quickly. So it's available for the wider team.
Great. Thank you. That was nice and succinct, Kieran. And we might actually move on now, just as we're on a really tight schedule. But thank you so much. For anyone that'd like to have a follow-up conversation with Kieran, we can schedule those meetings after this main session. But thanks, Akiro, and thank you, Kieran.
Thanks, Sarah.
Now I would like to welcome Nick Wilding from Cyber Risk Aware. Can you guys see my screen? You can see my screen with Cyber Risk Aware on it. Yes. Yeah. Great. So Cyber Risk Aware are a comprehensive security awareness and training platform that protect an organization through your human firewall. So we have Nick Wilding on the line, who is Chief Innovation Officer. And Nick, I'll leave it to you to take it away. I've given you control of the screen. So if you need to move anything, just shout if it's not working. Thanks.
Thank you, Sarah. Good morning, everyone. And thanks to Enterprise Ireland for giving us the opportunity of presenting to you all this morning. What I'd like to do is to tell you a little bit more about how we're transforming human cyber risk management and helping many organizations influence and drive the secure behaviors across their workforce and thereby reducing their human cyber risk. Because fundamentally, cybersecurity is a human risk. Sorry, can I have the next slide, please? Whether you're a potential client or partner, we would love to have the opportunity of progressing discussions with you. And I want to start by talking about the fact that security awareness training isn't really working in the way that it was intended. The traditional approach of tick box scheduled training has been around for many years now, but we continue to have the same client discussions about their people being their greatest vulnerability. These old approaches focus on compliance, not on behavior change. They focus on the percentage of people who've taken training, not on behavior change. And the reality is that 95% of all successful cyber attacks and data breaches continue to rely on our human error, whether you're in the boardroom or on the front line. Only yesterday, I spoke with a security director at a well-known bank. They quickly highlighted the challenge they have in getting their staff to complete online security training and have no idea how effective their current training approach is and how it's impacting their cyber risk profile. We need a new and different approach, a data and intelligence-led approach. So cyber risk aware, we've listened to what our clients want. They want context-specific and employee-centric training. We learn best when we're nudged or guided at the very time we do something risky and when the message is hyper-relevant to us and what we've done. Clients also want to ensure they're achieving more with less with their security awareness education programs. More and more, it's now about risk scoring. And cyber risk aware helps organizations identify and focus on their higher risk people and teams to ensure greater efficiency and report on employee behavior change based on real actual events within their organization. So cyber risk aware, we're really proud to be helping organizations to think differently about security education and helping their employees behave differently. We're getting great feedback, as you can see on the slides here, from our clients, and they appear to love what we're doing. Gartner recently conducted independent research across cyber risk aware clients, and we scored an unprecedented 4.8 out of 5. It's what drives Stephen Burke, our chief exec, me and the great team at Cyber Risk Aware forward. We want to help you make a fundamental change to the ways you manage your critical human cyber risks. Next slide, please, Sarah. So how does this magic really happen? Our SaaS solution provides the answers to the changing client needs, instant learning moments that matter to the right person at the right time in response to their actual behaviors. Our SaaS platform brings together network defense events, data analytics, training, and risk assessment material with a behavior database into a fully automated human cyber risk management solution. The platform delivers hyper-targeted training intervention just as anyone displays a risky behavior that's logged by your network defenses. In short, we're bringing technology and behavioral science together to transform the way organizations influence security behaviors and minimize their cyber risk exposure. And the results speak for themselves, as you can see. And the next slide, please, Sarah. So for the first time, organizations are now able to track, assess, and report on their human behavioral probabilities, their vulnerabilities, as well as their company-wide human cyber risk scores, all based on actual events that happen within the organization. And the next slide, please, Sarah. Our clients and leading market analysts say cyber risk aware are different, and we're very different. Why is that? We help organizations maximize training effectiveness and behavior change by delivering the right message to the right person critically at the right time. We identify higher risk employees and teams so that they can focus limited security awareness, training spend, and resources where it's needed most. We also help them track and report on progress and risk impact via our comprehensive management reporting suite. We help them to personalize and customize their security campaigns by whether that's by individual, by team, by office, by region or country. And we also fully automate their security training content, policy reminders, data regulations, something that's a critical requirement for staff because some of these larger organizations, they really need to automate these processes. And the next slide, please, Sarah. So Gartner has called our solution innovative, game-changing technology, but we continue to innovate, listening and responding to our clients' changing requirements. One example of that is that we've just launched a Teams app, which allows the client organization to drive their security awareness training directly into the Teams app across their organization. We'll also soon be launching a cyber bot, which is a unique capability where staff can ask any question they like on cybersecurity and company security policy. And the final slide, Sarah. So to summarize, we know that cyber criminals target people, not technology, and they have done for many years. And we've been repeating the mantra that a cyber risk aware workforce is our main defense against cyber criminals. Now with cyber risk aware client organizations have the choice to deliver real and measurable behavior change across their organization. Our employees really are the strongest link and the strongest defense against cyber attacks. Our mission at Cyber Risk Aware is to put security behaviors at the very heart of the modern workplace, in the office, at home, and on the move. Stephen, the Chief Exec, and I would love to show you more. So if you do want to be in contact with us, there's our emails there. So please do contact us. We'd love to show you and demonstrate more about the difference that we're making to organizations, whether you're a potential client or a channel partner of ours. And that's the final slide, which I'm happy to take any questions now, Sarah.
Great, thank you, Nick. So yeah, Claudia, if you want to start feeding the questions in, thank you.
Yep, so we have a question here, Nick. So do you have different training offerings for both security professionals within an organization and the wider employee base?
Sure, absolutely. Now, we appreciate that different functions have different requirements in terms of the training, and we do have training critically for all staff. And we look to make sure that we are presenting that around functions and roles that people have within organizations. So yes, we do have training that's specific to security teams, but critically for all staff across the organization. And the critical thing there is to emphasize the fact that this training is short, it's targeted, and it has to be relevant at the time that when someone sort of displays a risky behavior, that they're pushed the message, whether that's a nudge or a video or a piece of e-learning or a snippet of a relevant company policy that allows them to learn from the mistakes that they might make. And these are unwitting mistakes that we're making, and we all make them wherever we sit in the organization.
Great, thank you, Nick. I think we might wrap it up there, but thank you so much. That was a great, really informative session. And
Thanks,
Nick,
Sarah.
along with everyone else, the presentation will be available in the recording of the session. So I would now like to welcome CWSI. So next up, we have Martin Gill and Paul Connaty. Martin is UK Business Development Manager and Paul Connaty is Head of Consultancy Services. CWSI help organisations thrive and stay secure in a mobile-first world and have recently expanded their UK footprint through the acquisition of Avior International. I'll leave it to Martin and Paul to take it away. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Just first to confirm you can see my screen.
Yeah. All good.
Brilliant. Okay, well, welcome to you all, and thank you to Enterprise Ireland for the opportunity to present this morning. My name's Martin Gill. I'm UK Channel Manager with CWSI.
Yeah, and I'm Paul Connolly, Head of Consulting Services with CWSI.
Cool. Cheers, Paul. And today we're here to share our thoughts on securing the modern workplace and explaining why we believe integrated mobility is actually a bit of a game changer. But first, just let me explain why we feel we're really well placed to give that guidance to you. CWSI was founded in Ireland back in 2010, and in 2016 we expanded through to the UK in indirect channel partnerships and now provide a full suite of enterprise mobility, security and productivity solutions to some of the UK and Ireland's best known organisations. This year we acquired a business in the UK, and in doing so expanding our UK footprint, driven by our ambition to be a pan-European leader in modern security and compliance solutions. We're the first partner in Ireland and one of only 4 organisations in the UK to join the Microsoft Intelligent Security Association, or MISA. MISA is really important for us because it recognises us for our suite of managed security services. So Microsoft Azure Active Directory, Microsoft Cloud App Security, and Microsoft Defender for Endpoint. But not just that, we were voted Microsoft Security and Compliance Partner of the Year and boast 5 gold competencies in different areas across cloud solutions. We are mobile and cloud first, and we've been helping organisations adapt to the increasing presence of mobile technologies in business since the very first smartphones became available. We're really deep on security, as our accreditations and depth of history show. But our expertise isn't just with Microsoft. We work with all of the major leader vendors as identified by the Gartner Magic Quadrant, and we are truly agnostic. All of our expertise is in-house, offering consulting, professional managed services in security, compliance, device management, through to design, deployment, and integration. And as you'd expect, we do take security very seriously. We're ISO 27001 accredited, independently verified by the NCSC, and we have our Cyber Essentials Plus certification. Organisations trust CWSI to achieve a faster, more complete result. It's no longer enough to just know Microsoft technology. No matter what UEM is chosen, the need to understand the operating system in depth in learning how to integrate that into the full technology stack is how we believe customers unlock the most from their investment. So what we do is focused on modern security, and you'll recognise that there's a need for this almost across all verticals, as is a lot of the conversation this morning in a lot of these great presentations. Here is a mixture of a couple of the direct clients, those won direct, and through indirect channels. Our clients are typically large enterprise and government organisations, and here's Paul to share a little bit more.
Thanks very much, Martin. Just to show as well some of the breadth of how we work. So Martin mentioned already that we work both direct and in channel, and you saw on the previous slide some of the breadth of the different verticals that we work in. And this slide is really give you a flavor of some of the channel partners that we like to work with. The reason why we have a channel approach is primarily it allows us to scale into new markets and to address the customers of the large enterprise customers that Martin was talking about. And the benefits of the channel partner of working with someone like CWSI is that we allow that channel partner to rapidly add new products and services. We have a tried and tested model for looking at cybersecurity solutions that fit this market and bringing them into our managed service offering. And I think that allows some of the large carriers and similar type partners to bring products and services to market much quicker than they normally would be able to. In addition, we have all the accreditations and skills and expertise in service delivery that may not be present in some of these channels or can be difficult for them to acquire. So for example, all our services are ISO 27001 certified, and we have significant accreditations in Samsung, Microsoft, VMware, and all the other technologies that Martin showed you on the previous slide. Let's move on to the next slide there, Martin, thank you. So I just want to take a few moments to give you a kind of a flavor of some of the projects and customers that we've worked with. And one that I've been particularly involved in and I'm quite proud of being involved in has been our work with the Irish Police Force on Garda Síochána for the Irish members of the audience. And what we've done here is an example of an end-to-end customer lifecycle. So initially we were brought in to provide consultation services around their device choice and platform options. So they wanted to understand what, from a security point of view, they were looking at whether they would go with Apple, whether they would go with Samsung, whether they would go with other solutions, and what also from a platform point of view in terms of managing those solutions, what they should look like. So that was the initial engagement. We were then brought back in to do the solution architecture and implementation. And then finally, we now provide an in-life managed service for over 10,000 devices, which is currently scaling with the demand in the organization. The primary challenges that they wanted to address was a very manual, paper-driven, slow processes. They wanted to get smart devices and applications into the hands of the frontline police force to enable them to deliver better services to the public in a more efficient way. And I think the quote that I have there at the bottom of the slide is key from the head of innovation and digital services, that through delivery of innovative policing apps via our secure managed device platform, we've taken the time to process an FCN from 60 days to 60 seconds. So an FCN is just police speak for a fixed charge notice that you would get at the side of the road. But you can see they're taking that from 60 days to 60 seconds. That's what digital transformation really looks like. And we were an enabler for doing that in a secure fashion. Let's take the next slide, please. Our second example here is Costa Coffee, which is the fastest growing coffee shop organization in the UK. Slightly different private sector organization. Their primary challenge was they've been acquired by a major global company, in this case, Coca-Cola. And they had a major audit and had the requirement to bring all of their existing security controls in line with much stricter corporate standards. So they engaged us to help them assess the gap from where they were and where they need to get to, and develop a roadmap and a set of services to help them get to that point. The previous example was primarily around VMware Workspace ONE, NetMotion was the VPN solution, and Samsung was the device choice. In this case, it's Microsoft Endpoint Manager, formerly Intune, Checkpoint as the security wrap, and this was based on Windows devices. So this is just again to show that we work with all the major players in this space, and our benefits are that we can cover all those different areas. So I think just as a quick summary to wrap up, we're experts in modern security and compliance. We're vendor agnostic. We provide an end-to-end range of services, and we have a proven enterprise and government track record. And for the partners or potential partners on the call, we do have the options to white label any of our services to enable you to go to market quicker. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Paul. Gonna have to wrap you up there. Thank you, Paul and Martin. That was a great presentation. We might jump into the Q&A. It's hard to keep it under 7 minutes, I do know.
Yeah, so we have a couple of questions coming in here, Martin and Paul. So if I don't get to your question, Sarah will feed them through after the presentations. So firstly, was there a significant cost involved in gaining the security integration accreditation with Microsoft? And how long did the process take?
Yeah, I suppose I'll take that one, Martin, if it's okay. To gain the accreditation with Microsoft, significant costs? No, not really. It was all existing costs in the business. So it was all work that we were already doing. I think it did take a bit of time, obviously, to build a relationship with Microsoft and for them to feel comfortable to bring us into that process. But no, it's not like our ISO accreditation or anything like that, where there was a major outlay and project to deliver it.
We probably have time for just one more, Claudia.
Okay, perfect. So there's another one here. CWSI have grown significantly through their acquisitions and partner strategy. What criteria do you look for when selecting a potential partner?
Again, I suppose I'll take that one, Martin. I think for partners, what we're really looking for is synergies. So are they working in spaces that we are already engaged in, or providing some similar services where there might have a gap that we can close for them? And then obviously scale and the markets that they're working in. You know, is it an area that we're already well served in, or we're looking, as Martin mentioned, to become pan-European. So we're definitely interested in partners to help us both in the UK, but also reaching into Europe as well.
Great stuff. Okay, thank you guys. I now might move on to Fijowave. And I've seen another question come in here. So the slides will be shared with all attendees. So a recording of the session along with the deck of each of the presenters will be shared with all attendees. So next up, we have Fijowave, who provides secure remote access solutions to telcos, manufacturing, energy utilities, and many other sectors via their IoT solution, Fijoport, which is customizable for any internet communication platform. So we have Michael O'Keefe, CEO, on the line here. Michael, are you ready
Sarah,
to start sharing your screen?
I thought I did, Sarah.
No problem.
Oh.
Yeah.
Is that it?
Good stuff. Yeah. Right.
Sorry about
Take it
that,
away.
Sarah.
No problem.
Okay. So, oh, sorry, Sarah. Okay, so my name is Michael O'Keefe. I'm the CEO of Fijowave. So Fijowave was formed in 2011. We're an Irish IoT security solutions company, and we're concentrating in the area of secure remote access. So our platform product is called Fijoport. So what does that do? It essentially provides customers with the ability to remotely access and monitor IP and legacy equipment as if they were directly connected to those units on site. So who do we do it for? Our areas are the telecommunication sector, maintenance groups, manufacturing, energy utility industry. In fact, the solution is applicable to any organization that needs 24/7 access to equipment without user intervention. So I suppose just before we start on what our product is, we need to consider the security aspects of providing secure remote access to customers. So, from a security perspective, we need to isolate the remote network from the internet. We need to provide end-to-end encryption. We need to make sure the cyber footprint is not exposed on a customer site. So, for example, you can't expose any IP addresses. We want to provide a solution that allows us to remotely access vulnerable devices, for example, devices that you can no longer upgrade from a security perspective. We also want to provide business continuity disaster recovery solutions. So that involves, for example, providing out-of-band solutions when the customer's WAN goes down, for example. We need to be able to monitor security status of devices. And, from our perspective, wouldn't it be great to have one device that keeps all of that secure for you? So while these security issues can be complex to implement, the solution needs to be agile, and by that I mean it's simple to install, to configure, to maintain, and to upgrade. And yet it has to be flexible in terms of how it's implemented on a customer side, whether that's connecting to a customer LAN, WAN, or out of band over 3G, 4G. The solution needs to be scalable, to take a solution from one to thousands of devices. It needs to be cost effective over that whole entire range. And, in terms of allowing remote users, we need to have what we call separations of concern, or the zero trust principles, where different users have different access to different customers right down to device level, and all that to be auditable. That allows for various types of specialists to access, key equipment, and others not. So how does Fijowave implement all of this? Okay, so if we look at the picture on the right-hand side here, it shows, on the right-hand side are customer sites and devices. On the left-hand side are remote users. So what we do is we put a Fijoport unit on a customer site anywhere that can reach the devices. And that can be any of our hardware solutions, or in fact a software implementation. So that Fijoport device on power up makes an outbound connection to a portal server, which can be cloud or on-premise hosted, depending on the organization's security requirements. And then on the left-hand side, users authenticate to a portal server, and based on their credentials, they get a dashboard display of all their customer sites and devices that they have access to on that site. So different users will have access to different devices on different on customer sites, and they're unaware of each other's interaction. And that can be, people, or it can be machines, remotely accessing devices for AI applications, for example. So why do users use Fijoport? I suppose it's plug and play. It has multiple connection options, so we can connect to IP devices or legacy equipment. It's secure, it's scalable, it's cost effective. It provides a complete dashboard display of the entire network of customers and devices, and provides alerting on device monitoring issues. So all that leads essentially to operational cost savings, less travel to customer sites, and reducing your carbon footprint and the cost of supporting a user. So just to give you some examples of our customers, in the UK, BT are our biggest customer. So they ship our product with all installed on-premise PBXs and SIP gateways, for example. So their support centers, whether in the UK or elsewhere, use our solution as the single source of remote access to all of their products. And so they have a dashboard monitoring. They have automatically information of whether a device has gone down or if there's any issues with a device, and they can remotely access that 24/7 basis. So for them, it increases their SLA, performance, and it cuts out most of their travel in terms of customer support. So that's just one of their dashboards that shows an interactive graph of all their customer sites, and they can drill down to that, or they can drill down to other web pages to find their customers. Californica is another customer operating in the OT area. So we're part of their cybersecurity solutions to the industrial customers, specifically around the area of remote access to OT equipment in the outer band area. So they use our product to provide business continuity solutions for key equipment on industrial sites, such as machines in factories, and servers, etc., in substations, whatever, so that they can all be accessed out of band if something goes wrong with their existing network. So in summary, we provide, secure remote access to both IP and legacy serial equipment. The product is scalable from 1 to thousands. It provides 24/7 monitoring with complete dashboard of all installed devices. It lends itself to AI predictive maintenance, through its machine-to-machine applications, and it's simple to install. It can be actually a post-out solution. Okay, and thank you for that. And if anyone is interested in a live demo or to discuss further, more than happy to have a call with anyone. Thank you.
Thanks, Michael. That was great. Some really interesting use cases there. So we might jump into the Q&A if any have come through, Claudia.
Yeah, so we have a few questions here, Michael. So firstly, can Fijoport integrate with existing hardware?
In terms of, let's say a company has equipment or machinery, yeah, we can provide a solution that you can integrate our software onto your product, if that's what you mean by the question.
Yeah, okay, and we have another one here. So how do you ensure older or incompatible devices are securely protected?
Okay, so it's what happens here is our Fijoport device on the customer side is the front end point for remote access. So all the access is made via the portal server. So there's an encrypted link the whole way to the Fijoport device. So the device that you first meet on a customer site is our Fijoport device. So any devices behind that is protected from a security perspective by our Fijoport unit.
Okay, great. We might leave it there if that's okay. Thanks a million, Michael. And for, as you said, if there's anyone that would like a demo or for further conversation, don't hesitate to get in touch, and we'll be sharing these slides as well with everyone. Thank you, Michael. So I'd now like to, cheers. I'd now like to welcome up Tynes. So Tynes securely automate any workflow via their no-code solution and have recently made headlines through their Series B fundraising round, where they secured 26 million, which now values them at an impressive $300 million. So we have Anne-Marie Regan here, sales director, who is leading the pitch, and we also have Thomas Kinsella, CEO, who is on the line as well. So I'll leave it to you, Anne-Marie.
Perfect. You can see my screen, correct?
Yeah, all good.
Great, thank you. So yeah, as Sarah mentioned, Anne-Marie, Director of Sales here at Tynes. Just a little bit of history on Tynes. So it's around 3.5 years old. It was founded by Owen Hinchy and Thomas Kinsella, who worked in security teams in the likes of eBay, DocuSign, PayPal. And while working in those teams, they came to the vision of the Tynes platform. Ultimately, they noticed that their very skilled and talented analysts and engineers were spending their time responding to the same alerts over and over again. And while sourcing platforms to try and fill that gap, that would allow frontline security engineers and analysts to automate their repetitive tasks without having to write code, they couldn't find anything that they liked. So they decided to develop their own, with the ambition and North Star of building the platform that they wished had been available to them. The three main problems that we're trying to solve for, based on Owen and Thomas's careers and insights in security, is really the first one: there's just too much work. We like that top statistic there, that 83% of teams are overwhelmed by the volume of the alerts that they receive. We really like this because we're interested to know what the other 17% are doing that they don't feel overwhelmed with the volume of alerts. We have yet to meet any of those teams to date. The second problem then that we see is there's just not enough staff. Hiring a senior security engineer can take anywhere between 9 to 12 months, even longer in some cases. We're also seeing then staff churn, and just because of that low fulfilling, repetitive but necessary work, people get bored and move on. The final problem then is the sense of the inevitability of incidents. We appreciate that it's extremely difficult to prevent incidents at scales, with a typical cost of around $4 million and probably more in most cases. These are the three main problems that we're trying to solve for with Tynes. We're not saying Tynes is a silver bullet to all your security challenges and needs, but it's a really good answer to these three challenges, having advanced security automation in place. I mentioned earlier the reason one of the reasons our founders built Tynes was, after looking at all the different solutions out there, they couldn't find anything that met their needs. That landscape hasn't changed significantly. To get off the ground with any of these traditional SOAR platforms today, you need highly trained teams to manage the solutions. The solutions themselves are extremely rigid in how they're executed. You're dependent on pre-built integrations, apps, and plugins, and they're really difficult to customize. In a lot of cases, you can't even customize these platforms. Carrying on from that, legacy solutions can be pretty complex to deploy. Time to value in most cases is many months. In some cases, it's even 12 plus months. And then finally, they often come with a lot of baggage, making them expensive as they're combining multiple elements into a single package, trying to be that everyman solution, but this just leads to a bloated offering with suboptimal capabilities. So how Tynes is different? Well, Tynes is powerful. It's focused only on automation. So it's designed to talk to any tool in your technology stack. We're 100% vendor agnostic and can handle massive complexity just using 7 simple action types. Tines then is accessible as we're empowering your frontline security teams with a no-code platform to automate their own manual workloads without having to rely on scripting or software developers to build that for them. And then finally, we're trusted, we're managing mission critical workflows for some of the world's best companies. We can deploy in our cloud environment or on-prem, giving everyone access to enterprise grade security automation. And this is where we introduce you to Tines, a storyboard that allows anyone, regardless of their technical know-how, to automate any workflow, regardless of complexity or technology stack. When building Tines, we were driven by 3 key principles. 1, every automation workflow can be automated using just 7 action types. 2, automation is only effective when implemented by teams on the front line. And 3, to be useful, an automation platform should be learnable in 3 hours or less. And that's why we believe Tines is a radically different approach to security automation. How it all works? Well, the magic of Tines comes from our 7 actions, which are the core component of the platform. The actions are the building blocks to our automation stories. With just these 7 action types, you'll be able to automate and scale almost any manual workflow, regardless of what it is, whether it's EDR, phishing, employee onboarding. It's only ever going to be a different combination of these 7 action types configured in slightly different ways. And that's really what makes Tines extremely simple to use. There's 3 key things that you need to know and remember about Tines in order to understand ultimately how the platform works, and that's our action event architecture. The first component is actions, as I mentioned earlier. These are the building blocks to your automation stories. There's only 7 types of actions, so every single workflow that you automate, regardless of use case, is just a different combination of these 7 action types configured in slightly different ways. The second component then is our events. That's the structured data that's sent between those actions. They're stored as JSON for added flexibility, easy to read and write once. The third and final component of story are our stories. You can think of stories as playbooks or use cases, and they're ultimately a collection of actions working together towards a single mission. We provide a bunch of stories out of the box for our most common use cases. Then to create your workflows or stories, as we call them, you have an interactive storyboard, which is literally drag and drop actions into the workflow and connect them together into events. One question we get asked all the time is, how can we use automation? What use cases do we commonly see? These are the most common use cases that we see in Tines. Tines is designed to work with any use case, though, regardless of complexity or technology stack. So as a result, we tend to see Tines used in a lot more use cases than what's on the screen. For example, the average number of use cases for a Tines customer is 20. If you've been using the platform for over a year, that jumps to around 30 use cases. And we have several customers with over 100 production use cases in Tines. And this is why we're trusted by some of the world's leading security teams, from startups to Fortune 100 Fortune 100 companies, they all trust Tines to manage their mission critical workflows. We're very humbled by the trust they put in us, especially considering the fantastic logos you see on screen here. They're well known and respected organizations who are happy to act as advocates for Tines. In the interest of time, I won't go through these use cases, but as Sarah will share the decks out and you can go through these in your own time. And just to reiterate, Tines is powerful. It can do everything you want an automation platform to do. It's accessible. Anyone with any skill level can use it. And finally, we're trusted by some of the world leading security teams. If you have any questions, either ask now or contact myself or Thomas after the session today. Thank you.
Thanks, Anne-Marie. Great presentation. So we've had a couple of questions come in. If you could feed them in, please, Clodagh.
Yep, so thank you, Anne-Marie. So the first one here is Tines compatible with all leading MDR and EDR solutions?
Yes, it is. The beauty of Tines is we are 100% vendor agnostic. If there's an API, we can connect.
Brilliant. And our second one here is, do you have any tips for Irish startups looking to fundraise and selecting the right investors?
I would defer to Thomas on that one, the master of fundraising. He's the guru there. So yeah, I'm sure there's a lot, and we'll be happy to have conversations after the session today on that.
Yes, send us a mail.
Poor Thomas lost his voice today, so he got the next best thing in me.
Great, thanks guys. Okay, we might leave it there. Thank you, Anne-Marie. Thanks, Thomas. That was a great session. Now we will move on to, let me just quickly, I have not done this yet. We'll move on to Vaultree now. So we've got Ryan. One moment, I haven't actually promoted you to panelist yet, so apologies. Let me quickly do that now. It's the beauty of Zoom. Now, so next up we have Vaultree. Have you connected there?
Yes.
Yes, great.
Yeah.
Great, thanks. So we've got Ryan here on the call, who is a co-founder, and Vaultree are reshaping data protection via their revolutionary encryption technology. This encryption as a service solution has recently emerged from stealth mode, and it's fresh off their latest seed round of $3.3 million. So I'll leave it to you, Ryan.
Great.
Thanks a million.
Very much. Okay. Okay, so my name is Ryan, one of the co-founders of Vaultree. We're an encryption as a service startup that has achieved a monumental breakthrough when it comes to how you work with fully encrypted data, the future of encryption. Now, we are background skill set all the way from cybersecurity, mathematics, network security, cryptography, sales, operations to marketing. We are well equipped to meet any challenges. Now, we, as just mentioned, we just came out of a $3.3 million seed round funded by 1011 VC from Silicon Valley, also the co-founders of PGP. Other investors include the ex-CISO of Cisco, John Stewart, the CISO of David Curry, and a lot of other amazing investors. In terms of who is behind us, well, we have an amazing advisory team that has worked with us from day one, such as Sarah, Chief Security Advisor for Microsoft Europe, to Rick Ferguson, who is the VP of Security Research at Trend Micro, championing us along the way, working with us on an active basis, whether daily or weekly, to bring us and help us to success. Now, in terms of what we do, I mentioned a monumental breakthrough, right? Well, in the field of encryption, we have now launched a patent with WIPO in the field of ESSE, Enhanced Searchable Symmetric Encryption, but we allow for data to be processed at close to real time. With our solution, fully encrypted solutions that we are building, they are based on three key pillars: simplicity, ease of integration and use, being able to not only not be an encryption expert and actually use a plug and play solution is vital. We don't expect you to be a cryptographer and encryption expert. Secondary, security and control. A zero trust environment. We assume zero trust with everything that we do. As well as that, you own the keys. There's no key disclosure and no server-side decryption. Thirdly, performance and scalability. We allow for your data to be processed at close to real time, as well as that scale to infinite amounts of data sets. Now, protection at the core is vital. Data is not only the new oil, but also a toxic asset. Now, what is the secret sauce? I'm not going too deep into this, but there are three key elements from a cryptography point of view that make Vaultree's fully end-to-end encrypted technology. One is fully homomorphic encryption, second, functional encryption, and thirdly, our patent-pending enhanced searchable symmetric encryption. All allow for no key disclosure, no server-side decryption. You balance that security and the performance, and keep your data fully encrypted at all times. Now, most databases use DET, which we know for a long time we shouldn't be using. DET standing for deterministic encryption. Now, having a most efficient and a most secure encryption technology, and this is a sweet spot where Vaultree comes in. In terms of the performance, you don't have to worry about performance when working with fully encrypted data anymore. We've been working at this for a long time, and coming out of stealth mode, having finally cracked the mathematics behind this is incredible. It allows you to have a multi-user environment, hundreds of thousands and millions of users concurrently accessing the same data and having a performance close to real time. In terms of our first product and technology, we are bringing out a Vaultree SDK as developers for developers that will, if you think of it like your database, we literally just sit over that database. Any database as such can work with our SDK. In this case, on the client application, you send a query through our SDK that gets encrypted, goes to the database, is processed, fully encrypted, sends an encrypted response back, is decrypted in our SDK, and then back to the client application. In terms of what is the potential, well, first of all, we integrate with a variety of platforms. Third-party, cloud, CRM, sales app, the IoT sector, the potential is unlimited. Our technology can be implemented in a variety and different scenarios. In a nutshell, it's not only the security element. We allow you for the first time to work with fully encrypted data at runtime, but also no special purpose hardware is needed. Lower processing time, lower energy costs, no expensive consultants anymore needed. All in all, we not only provide the security, but also save a significant amount of money here. In terms of the Vaultree standard, we are talking about the future is encrypted. The matter is just, the question is when and how, and this is where Vaultree sets or wants to set the standard. The Vaultree standard. You keep your data always encrypted. If a ransomware attack happens, in this case, the data is useless. All in all, we should keep our data always protected and encrypted at all times. We are launching our beta product in Q2 next year. We are currently in discussions with several multinationals, including the largest credit reporting company in the world, and then several other large multinational corporations. Very exciting time. And with that, if you have any questions, please let me know, open for questions. If, by the way, for any other questions afterwards, please contact me at my email address, ryan@vaultree.com. Thank you.
Great, thank you for that, Ryan. Very succinct presentation, kept it under 7 minutes, thank you. So now we'll jump into a couple of questions.
So our first question here, Ryan, is where is your customer data stored? For example, is your Irish customer data stored in Ireland and UK data in the UK? And what cloud computing services do you use? For example, AWS or Azure?
So as part of our product, we don't store your data, right? That is actually our second product that we are launching, a database as a service. Our first product, our SDK, is provided to technical teams, and they can have the database wherever they want to. So the technical team within an enterprise takes our SDK and they embed it within their stack, and they could have their database with AWS, with Azure, could be in Ireland, the US, that is really up to the client. We provide the SDK to the technical team to implement.
Okay, perfect. And we have another question here, similar to that of Tynes. So do you have any tips for Irish startups looking to fundraise and selecting the right investors?
Yeah, definitely. It's been a long time for us, for sure, but more than happy actually to touch base afterwards. That will require a longer answer.
Perfect.
Great.
And
oh, if there's one more, I'm conscious of time here. If there's one more, go for it.
Yeah, I see a question here from Dr. Ali. So in terms of the encryption strength, we use industry standard ciphers. okay? So AES 256, and then also from a quantum computing point of view, we allow for quantum ciphers to be used and literally swapped out. So from a cryptography point of view, it is very, very strong from an encryption point of view, technology point of view. And from a cipher point of view, we actually don't develop ciphers, but we use industry standard ciphers. And more than happy also to go in more detail on our technology and what we do after this.
Great. Thank you, Ryan. Okay, brilliant. Thanks a million. So we will now move on to our final presentation. So by last but by no means least, we have Waterford Technologies. I think we've got Mark Mulcahy here. Hi, Mark. So Waterford Technologies are leading innovators in the email and file management space. They have 1,600 customers and offices in Ireland, the US, and the UK, and have spent over 20 years creating long-term relationships with clients and supporting them along their data management journeys. So I will leave it to you, Mark, to present. I think you should be able to share your screen. Yeah, great stuff.
Thanks, Sarah. Hi, everybody. Mark here from Waterford Technologies. Nice to be talking to you guys today. I'm going to give you a quick overview at a high level of what Waterford Technologies does for our clients and the solutions we provide. So Waterford Technologies is a software house. It is based in the southeast of Ireland with a broad area of functionality around data management, focusing on email and file management. That covers cybersecurity, compliance, e-discovery, GDPR, ROT analysis, information lifecycle management, cost reduction, data reduction. So the company profile, Waterford Technologies, was founded back in 2000. We are recognized as the largest email and file provider in the Irish marketplace. We have a large presence in the UK. We've got offices in the US, in the UK, and here in Ireland. Typical competitors of ours would be the Veritas, Commvault, Mimecast clients. So what are we trying to provide from a solution point of view? Primarily at the moment, it is around helping our clients with the explosion when it comes to compliance in the marketplace, specifically around the GDPR activity, which has a direct result of COVID over the last 18 to 20 months. So in order to manage that aspect, we also have to manage other areas of our data sets. So we have to manage our data structure. We have to understand our data growth. So we try to help people control that from a cost, complexity, understanding point of view. We're also trying to help simplify the GDPR activity in our clients' data sets and organizations. We provide information lifecycle management in order to help achieve that. And then that's coupled around the security side of things by cybersecurity protection around immutable storage, identifying the correct data to move. Also audit trails around any sort of e-discovery functionality that we provide to our clients. So at a simple level, we provide a broad spectrum of functionality to help you manage your email and file. And from a GDPR coalition point of view, it was identified as the Wild West of GDPR was in managing those data sets. That's also true when it comes to security and protection. And our differentiator is as we wrap our solution in a managed service. So you've heard from some of the speakers there and Dr. Ali at the start around cybersecurity, training, understanding, even getting the talent out there is harder to do. And part of those problems are that these type of issues, even though they are critical, are not seen as immediate. So security, cybersecurity, protection, e-discovery, proper compliance can often be left on the back burner. So what we try to do with our solution, which differentiates us from our competitors, is we provide the solution, but then we wrap it in a team of 15 people who end up working with you as part of your team to get the most out of the solution. Okay, now there are also data management responsibilities that you guys would have. And to simplify that, I always say to our clients, ask yourself some simple questions and then be honest with the answers that you provide. So first question will be, what type of data do I have? Okay, and that is one of the hardest questions to understand. Where is that data? Am I adequately monitoring it from a security or compliance point of view? Am I minimizing it? Am I only keeping what is necessary? Is it protected? And again, going back to the points that Dr. Ali was making, you know, do educate yourself to make sure you understand what that means. You know, have I got an audit trail around everything I manage with my data? And for us, very simply, if I have a data subject access request tomorrow on my data sets, can I do that? It takes 9 months to search a terabyte of data if you don't have some tool set to manage it. That's a Gartner statistic from the start of GDPR. So we can be blind to the requirements we need until that event occurs, not least around, as we've seen, ransomware attacks recently. So focusing on the cybersecurity angle of our product set, what we try to do is keep everything simple. So one of the problems with managing the cybersecurity and putting data out of, say, a ransomware attack reach is understanding what is the correct data. So we work with our clients to use our tool set to identify what files are critical, what files need immediate action, and what files don't on a network. We do it transparently to the end user so that this can be managed in a simple way with our help at the back end. It can be time-based retention in an immutable blob, but it also protects from internal or external. So we can prevent container deletion both internally and externally, and storage account deletion. From a legal or compliance point of view, then we can also use this mechanism to apply retention policies or legal hold on the various documents, and indeed classify documents that are in an unstructured area very simply and easily to structure our complicated data. So in summary, what do we provide? It's a cost-effective solution. Okay, it is also designed to be easy to use and to implement. It is then wrapped in a managed service to provide a broad spectrum of functionality to control various aspects of your data, with us as an ongoing support at the back end. Our customers range from, as Sarah said, 1,600 clients, from about 50 user organizations up to 50,000 user organizations. It would be government, insurance, legal, health, private sector. You could see there Belfast Trust is the largest hospital in Europe. They run our product set. They're estimating they're saving themselves with a similar type functionality or solution. The benefit that we've brought around ILM compliance to be saving about £300,000 a month using our solution. Our retention rate for our clients, even though we're 21 years old, is averaging at about 9.5 years, which is about 3 times the average in the industry. So it really is our clients that sell our software for us. So at the end of this presentation, we'll be providing links to the case studies, and if we would hope to talk to some of you guys and give you some of the examples on some of our solutions we provided to like industries so that you can see the benefits we provide. As I said, we have offices in the UK. I'm there at least once a month talking to our existing clients or potential partners. If we have any questions or we have an interested meeting up, Fiona Mulvaney, who's on this call with me, will be happy to talk to you guys in the future. But as I said, thanks for your time today. Look forward to talking to some of you in the future.
Great. Thank you, Mark. Okay, so we have time for a couple of questions. Claude, if any have come through, and I've just seen here that Laura has shared a link to your case studies in the chat for everyone to access.
Great.
So we have a question here for you, Mark. So what do you see as the biggest negative consequence of incorrect or inadequate data management?
Usually it's unknown and it doesn't manifest itself until it's too late. Cost, excessive cost, unnecessary complexity, uneducation in that area really occur. So these types of incidences usually manifest themselves when it's too late or when the incident occurs. So people need to start becoming more prudent, because as all of the other speakers have spoken about, more and more attacks, more and more risk is occurring with our data. So we need to start now not reacting, but being proactive around our data management.
Great. Thank you, Mark. We might just wrap it up there. Thank you so much, Mark. That was great.
Thanks,
great
guys.
way to wrap it up. And let me just quickly share my screen. Thank you firstly to all the panelists for keeping the sessions under 7 minutes. I know it's a very difficult task. So yeah, firstly, just a huge thank you to all of you. So yeah, we've come to the end of the session. Unfortunately, that is all we have time for. I'd firstly like to say a huge thank you to Dr. Ali Baghdadi of Ingram Micro. Thanks for opening the session and giving a really insightful and engaging fireside chat. As Dr. Ali mentioned, Ingram Micro are happy to kind of continue the conversation with different Irish companies on the call. So look forward to continuing this relationship going forward. And thank you so much to the 7 companies, Akiro, CyberSquare, CWSI, Fijowave, Tynes, Vaultree, and Waterford Technologies. It's a really diverse and exciting set of solutions and technology. And now the real kind of work happens. So for anyone who was really interested in meeting with any of the companies for further discussions or for one-to-one product demos, please reach out to myself. I've put my details up here, so we can start arranging those one-to-one meetings over the next couple of days. Also, if you would like to access a full directory of the 50 plus companies in our portfolio, please just contact myself, or alternatively, you can visit Irish Advantage /cybersecurity, which is a kind of hub where we keep all of our client directories, case studies, and news happening in the industry. So yeah, thank you so much to everyone for joining, and look forward to continuing the conversation with you all. Have a great rest of week. Thanks.
Thanks, Sarah.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.